Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, today I'm actually so excited to be filming this video because it's something that I've wanted to film for a really long time, and I'm finally sitting down to do it, so I'm so excited. But anyway, today's video is all about digestive health and what I have done recently, or somewhat recently, to improve my digestion. So back about 3, maybe 4 years ago, I filmed a YouTube video all about my digestive health struggles. I went into great detail about all the problems that I was experiencing, and at the time, what I learned and what I was doing to help improve my digestive issues. But things have changed since then. I'm doing things completely differently, and that's what I wanted to talk about today in today's video. So I'm briefly just going to go over what my digestive problems were, not in too much detail, but I'll let you know. And then I just want to talk to you about what I've learned and share with you my top 2 tips to improving digestive struggles of any kind if you have any. So if you're interested, just stay tuned and check out this video. Okay, so essentially I've had digestive problems my entire life. I was born with digestive problems. My mom essentially said when I was born, my LES, which is your lower esophageal sphincter, there's like a little valve that's in between your esophagus and your stomach. Mine was stuck open, so anytime she fed me, I was just throwing up all the time. So I was sick. I was in the hospital for a few weeks after I was born. And then it wasn't until I think when I had my oldest daughter, so I was about 25, 26 years old, I slowly started experiencing digestive problems that only got worse, and eventually it turned into extreme indigestion. And when I say indigestion, you're probably thinking, oh, that's no big deal, just a little stomach discomfort. Mine was absolutely horrible. It would honestly make me cry. It hurt so bad. There were times when it just felt like my intestines were like all knotted up, and I actually went to a GI doctor, and he said I was having transverse colon spasm. So your large intestine kind of does like an upside down box kind of view, and the long part up top, mine was spasming. I had bloating, just pain, heartburn like crazy, and I would belch, like not burp, but like belch like crazy after I ate. It was absolutely horrible. We went on a family vacation once, like at the point where it got the worst, and I literally spent the entire vacation like in the hotel room pretty much crying because I was in so much pain all the time. So there you go. That's kind of like what I was dealing with back then. And then I discovered info, which I talked about in my last video, that did help me, but I just wasn't 100% happy with anything or everything that I was doing. At the time, I was doing apple cider vinegar, and I honestly don't recommend that whatsoever anymore. It did help me, but I had to take apple cider vinegar every time before I ate anything, like 10 to 15 minutes, in order to not have like indigestion essentially. And that got really annoying to have to bring apple cider vinegar like to a restaurant with me and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't like it. And then I'm not 100% sure how I came upon this information. I honestly think it was my mother-in-law. I was thinking about it this morning. She worked at Costco, and I remember her telling me that there were these books that were selling like crazy, like flying off the shelves. And I remember being in our bookstore at Books A Million, and I saw the book like that she was talking about, which is right here. And I don't know why, but I decided to buy it to see what all the hype was about. And this book, Liver Rescue by the Medical Medium, absolutely changed my life. Like, I know that sounds so dramatic, but it's 100% the truth. And I really don't know how to explain it or describe it, but I'm sure some of you guys have had this experience where you heard something or seen something or read something and you can't explain it, but deep down you have this like inner knowing that what you're seeing, hearing, reading, whatever it might be, is the truth, right? That's how I felt reading this book. I just knew that the information was the truth, And it made so much sense. Like I read that book cover to cover and it makes so much sense. And because of my personality type, I honestly decided to dive into this information, and I wanted to do a little experiment on myself. I didn't need science, I didn't need anything to tell me whether or not this information was true. I essentially wanted to be the experiment. So I started applying the information in this book, and it changed my life, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Okay, so essentially, I'm going to do my best to explain, you know, like condense it down as much as possible, like explain the information that I've learned in this book, and then share with you my top 2 tips on how to improve any digestive struggles if you have any. So what I learned from this book, Liver Rescue, the title should probably give you a little clue what I want to talk about, is that any digestive problem, it doesn't matter what digestive problem you are experiencing, it all begins with your liver. So essentially what happens is over time, our livers get abused, unfortunately, and we don't mean to do it, but just years of eating like a really poor diet, of consuming alcohol, taking pharmaceuticals, whether they're over the counter or prescription, environmental toxins, like just breathing unclean air, scented candles, air fresheners, like just pumping gas and breathing in the fumes at the gas station. All these things weaken our liver over time. And essentially what happens is at some point our liver is just going to get weakened to the point where it's not able to produce the quantity and the quality of bile that it needs to produce to help your body digest fats. Like, so my understanding is that your bile helps you digest fats, and your hydrochloric acid is more responsible for proteins. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So when our liver becomes sluggish, stagnant, congested with all the toxins that we've experienced in our life, the bile production will become weakened. And what will happen is it'll get to the point where it's not producing, like I said, the quality or the quantity of bile that is needed to break down your food. And it essentially, your liver will send a signal to your stomach and say, hey, I'm having issues here. You need to produce more hydrochloric acid to break down the foods that this person is eating. So your stomach is just going to start pumping HCl like crazy, but then eventually that's going to weaken your stomach and cause your stomach not to produce enough hydrochloric acid. So you'll have a major problem here. Your liver is weakened, it's not producing the bile it needs to produce. Your stomach is weakened and not producing HCl, and that's when digestive problems can start to happen. So what happens is, if you're eating particularly proteins and fat, you're eating a lot of that, your stomach, your liver, they're not going to be able to break that down. So your food is going to be pretty much undigested. It's going to move into your small intestine, and because it's not properly digested, it's going to start to decompose and rot in your small intestine. And when that happens, some bad acid is produced, and that's when you start experiencing the bloating, the cramping, the literal distension, when your stomach looks bigger. I've seen pictures of people that almost look pregnant because they're so bloated, and you can have digestive problems when that starts to happen. So that's not good, and I want to share with you how you can help prevent all of that from happening. And I also wanted to mention, just really quick, not in a lot of detail, that stress can actually weaken your liver and your stomach as well. So you really want to do what you can. I know we all live in a very stressful world, but you want to do what you can to limit your stress as much as possible, because that does contribute to weakening your liver and weakening your HCl. But anyway, so like I was saying, your liver, the bile, digests fats, and HCl is responsible for digesting protein. And did you know that actually fats and protein are the 2 hardest things for your body to digest? So my number 1 tip that I want to share with you, it's not most important, it's just the first tip I'm sharing with you. If you have any digestive problems whatsoever, you want to do what you can to dramatically cut back on the amount of fat that you are consuming. I'm telling you, for me personally, This has made such a big difference, like the biggest difference in the world. So an ideal morning, for example, you wake up, drink some water, and no matter what you're gonna eat or drink afterwards, you want to have a completely fat-free morning. So that means if you can have a big like green fruit smoothie, but no fat, no peanut butter, no hemp seeds, chia seeds, no protein powder, no collagen, nothing like that. You want to have a completely fat-free morning. If you're not a smoothie person, like I personally love having oatmeal in the morning, just no nut butters, no seeds, no nothing in your oatmeal that has fat. You just want to have a fat-free morning. Ideally, you would also have a fat-free lunch. And then what you want to do is just save having your like main protein or fat for the evening, for dinner time. So like I'm plant-based, so I could have, you know, like chickpeas or beans, or make like taco night or something and save having my protein and fats at dinner time only. It might sound pretty crazy for you, or like it's not doable, or that it's maybe unhealthy, but I've been eating this way for quite a while and I'm not wasting away. I work out every single day, doing really challenging workouts, and I'm actually thriving. I'm building muscle and I'm doing so good. So it's definitely not an issue whatsoever to cut back on the fat and the protein. You just want to make sure that you're consuming a lot of really good, healthy carbohydrates like fruits and vegetables. Just kind of replace the fats and the proteins with more fruits and vegetables, and you'll be just fine, I promise. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about, which is maybe why you clicked on this video based on the little thumbnail that I posted, I want to talk to you about celery juice, because the combination of eating a very low-fat diet and consuming celery juice every single day has been such a game changer for me. Okay, I'm not going to be too technical with celery juice, but I want to kind of share with you what it does and why it works to the best of my ability based on, I have a couple books here. Okay, so based on the information in Liver Rescue, which I've already showed you, this book here, Celery Juice, this is all the medical medium, and then his most recent book, this is the medical medium, his first book, but this is the revised and expanded edition. I'm going to have all these books linked in the description below if you want to check them out on Amazon. But these are my top 3 favorite books that he has written, and I highly recommend that everyone gets them and reads them, especially if you have digestive problems or any other health problems. These books are so phenomenal. But I want to talk to you a little bit about celery juice. I'm just going to put these down here. Okay. So celery juice works because celery has a unique sodium composition, right? And medical medium calls that sodium cluster salts. So essentially what happens is when you consume celery juice, it gets into your body and it starts attacking and breaking down and killing viruses that we might have, unbeneficial bacteria, fungus, mold, just yeasts and stuff like that that we don't need in our body. And it starts killing those on contact. And when it moves into your intestines, it can help dislodge that rotting, decomposing fats and proteins that's been sitting there because our body isn't able to properly digest it. And it can move into your colon and kill off pathogens in your colon. And it also gets absorbed. It can travel up to your liver and it can start restoring your liver's ability to produce bile. And when you're consuming celery juice over time, long enough, every day, celery juice will actually help restore your stomach as well and restore your stomach's ability to produce hydrochloric acid. So your stomach will be able to start making the proper amount that it needs to again, so that you're able to properly digest your food. It's so incredibly amazing. I absolutely love it. And like I said, it has made the biggest difference for me. I'm actually gonna hop into my kitchen in just a minute and make my celery juice for today with you guys and talk to you a little bit about juicers, show you some celery juice tips, and just let you know just why I love celery so much. But before I do that, I just wanna kind of give you like the proper way to consume celery juice, because it's really important, because you can do it right and you can do it wrong. So ideally, this is an ideal morning. You'd wake up in the morning, drink some warm lemon water, wait about 10 to 15 minutes, then consume celery juice. Celery juice needs to be consumed on a completely empty stomach. That is so important because it gives the celery juice an opportunity to move through your stomach, to get down into your small intestine, go into your colon, and then up into your liver. And if you've eaten anything, you have food in the way and it's not able to work as good as it can. So you want to consume celery juice on an empty stomach. The minimum amount an adult should be drinking is 16 ounces, but if you're having major health struggles, you can go all the way up to like 32 ounces or more a day. I personally drink 20 to 24 ounces a day, and that works really well for me. And then after you've had your celery juice, you want to wait at least 20 minutes, and then you can have your breakfast. You can have your fruit smoothie, your oatmeal, just no fat, like I talked about earlier, and then go about your day. It's that simple. Now for me, just because I wake up early and I give celery juice to my kids too, I don't quite follow that schedule, but I do follow the rules. So like I have my breakfast and then I wait several hours, and I typically have celery juice around 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's been a few hours since I've eaten. I haven't had anything to drink for at least 30 minutes before I have my celery juice. And then I wait again like another 30 minutes or something if I'm gonna eat anything afterwards. So I still follow the rules. I just have celery juice later in the day because at that point, my kids are up. I'm not gonna juice and wake anybody up in the morning. And it just works better for us. You can have celery juice at any point throughout the day. It works best first thing in the morning, but as long as you're following the rules and consuming it only on an empty stomach, not adding anything. You don't add ice to it, you don't add lemon juice to it, you don't add anything to it. You just drink it plain. You will get amazing results. And yeah, I think I'm gonna hop into my kitchen and share with you how I make celery juice every single day. Okay, so I'm in my kitchen right now, and before I make the celery juice, I just kind of wanted to share some celery tips with you for buying celery at the store. So the first tip is, ideally, obviously, you want to buy organic celery, but if maybe you can't afford organic celery, or maybe your store's out of organic celery, or if after you see the second tip I want to share with you, maybe the organic celery isn't looking the best, conventional is 100% perfectly fine. Actually, the celery that I'm going to be juicing today is conventional because it looked way better than the organic celery at my grocery store. So I just wanted to put that out there. Just make sure with your celery, if you're buying organic or conventional, you want to wash it good. And with conventional, maybe use a little like natural non-toxic dish soap, just a tiny little bit. Like wash the celery stalk, rinse it off good, and dry it, and you're good to go. Honestly, organic or not, it doesn't make a difference. Both are going to help you. So the second tip is the appearance of celery. So sometimes you'll see celery at the store where the bunch is a really big bunch of celery. The celery stalks are a little thicker, like I'm going to show you, you know, like this guy, like if you look compared to my hand, like this is a big stalk of celery. They're thicker, wider, and they're kind of like lighter in color. Like this one is almost white. Down here, this is the best celery to buy because the taste of the celery juice is going to be the most mild. It's almost going to taste like water. Maybe it's slightly salty or slightly sweet sometimes, but the thicker, wider celery stalks that are light in color are the best. Sometimes you're going to see celery at the store, and I've had this experience, so I'm sharing from personal experience, where the stalks are honestly sometimes a half to a third of the size of this guy, and they're going to be a lot darker green in color, and they're going to have a little bit more of the leaves on the top. That's celery. If that's all they have, buy it, but the celery juice is going to be really bitter, and honestly, my kids won't even drink it if I end up buying that type of celery, because it honestly doesn't taste good. It helps you, but it doesn't taste good. So if you have the choice, if you can see the two different types at the store, go for the celery that looks more like this, the bigger celery stalks that are light in color. Now, the next thing I want to quickly talk about is juicers. And I do get questions. I'm always posting like, little videos on Instagram of me making celery juice, and people always want to know what juicer do I use. And the honest answer is the best juicer for you to get, if you don't have one yet, is the juicer that you're going to use, okay? There are so many different juicers on the market. There's really high end, there's cheaper ones. I personally own 2 juicers. I own an Omega juicer, like the more horizontal one. That is a good high quality juicer, I'm not gonna lie. If you have a little extra money, I would invest in an Omega juicer because they're really good. But I also own, you can kind of see in the background and you'll see it soon, it's the Breville Juice Fountain. And that juicer, it's a great juicer. It's not as high quality as an Omega juicer, but the reason why I use my Breville more often is because most days when I make celery juice, I'm juicing for myself and my 3 daughters, and that's a lot of celery. That's typically 4 bunches of celery that I'm juicing every single day, and the juice fountain can juice it super fast because you can fit like 3 to 4 stalks of celery in the juicer at a time and juice it with the Omega juicer. You can, this honestly, like this stalk of celery might have to get chopped in half to fit in the Omega juicer. So it just takes a little bit more time to use the Omega juicer. The Breville juicer is just more convenient. That's why I personally love it, but you don't have to use either of those juicers. Get what you can get what you can afford, and that's the best juicer for you to have. Both the juicers are equally easy to clean. It's not a big deal. You might not supposed to put them in the dishwasher, but I throw the parts and pieces of my juicer in the dishwasher and clean it that way. I'm more likely to stick with juicing, excuse me, if I can make it as convenient as possible. And that's my tip for you. And then also I wanted to say, if you don't have a juicer, if maybe getting a juicer right now just isn't in your budget, you can make celery juice in either a blender or a food processor. So what you want to do is you want to take, excuse me, you want to take your stalk of celery, wash it, dry it, clean it, chop it up into little pieces, and then put it in the food processor or the blender. Do not add anything, do not add water, and you want to blend it up. Excuse me, I need some water. Actually gonna get some. Okay, so you want to put it in your blender or your food processor, process it, don't add anything until you get it as juice-like as possible. And then what you want to do is get like a nut milk bag or a cheesecloth, and you want to strain that celery mixture through the cheesecloth or a nut milk bag into your cup, and then you can drink that. If you can't get a juicer right now, that's totally an option. You just want to make sure that you're not adding water or anything to the blender or food processor when you do that method. But anyway, I'm going to go make my celery juice. The lighting will not be quite as good because it's a dark corner over there, but I will let you see me making celery juice. And like I said, I'm making it for my kids too, and that's something I did want to talk about. If you have a child with digestive problems, you can totally follow the tips that I've shared here, eating a lower fat diet and consuming celery juice. In the Medical Medium Celery Juice book that I just showed you, he actually has a chart in there that shows, based on your child's age, the amount of celery juice they should be consuming every day. I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and they're not quite drinking the recommended amounts of celery juice that Medical Medium recommends, but they're doing pretty good. I know my 14 and 12-year-olds should be drinking about 16 ounces a day. But I think they're about 10 ounces, and they're seeing improvements based on that. So celery juice is perfectly good for children, perfectly safe. Do what feels right for you. But I just wanted to put that out there too, because I do give this to my kids to consume pretty much every single day. right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments if you're just gonna decide to try this, or if you do try it and you get results. I wanna hear what you guys think. I'm actually gonna put my celery juice down for just a second and just wanna share kind of like a bonus tip. So I said, celery juice, consuming a low-fat diet, and if you get these books, the medical medium books, in the back, this is in the liver rescue book, there's actually a whole section on supplements that you can take if you really want to take your healing to the next level. And I actually do consume, not all of them, not all the supplements that he recommends, but a lot of them. So what I will do in the description below, I will have these 3 books listed, and then I will also link the supplements that I'm taking to help heal my digestion, just in case you're interested in checking them out. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. But you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I was thinking of maybe doing like a whole entire video dedicated to supplements. If that's something that you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments and I can totally do that, because I think that would be a lot of fun. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a great day.